You are live! Let me hear.
Oh yeah, 5 seconds.
Oh, 5 seconds.
Can you guys hear us? Can someone say whether or not you hear us?
Let me hear this. Hello? We cannot hear anything.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Chung has her computer on the side and she can hear that you hear us. So.
It's kind of weird. I don't know what to do.
In case you don't know, this is our first live. So this is new for us. A lot of people do lives, but we've never done one before. So what we were thinking about, where did my notes go?
I think there's a camera blurring on over there. I can see. Let me see this.
There it is.
Let's
Okay.
see. Okay.
That's probably just light, right?
Mm.
So what we plan to do on this live, our first live, is to first just tell you a little bit about how we started and how long we've been doing this.
Hello.
And then we want to, we'll do a Q&A. In other words, we'll watch the chat bot on the right and answer questions along the way. And then also we'll have a few trivia questions. And along the way, we'll also share the code from time to time. As part of the celebration of hitting 100,000 subscribers, we're giving out a code that you can use to go to vagabondbuddha.com and sign up for a lifetime membership with a 75% discount. And it's going to be for the first 10 people. So anybody on the call, I might as well show that thing.
Oh, yes.
Here's the code. It's 10 friends for life.
Oh, my, I think. Oh, yeah. Okay.
And there's no spaces. It's all lowercase. And it's the number 10 and then the word friends and then the number 4 and then the word life. That's the, if you've read our emails and our posting about this live, you'll know that that's for the 75% discount at vagabondbuddha.com. That's the code you'll use to get the discount. So that's good for now. You can put that down here. You don't have to hold it the whole time.
I just feel.
You know what?
I don't know what to do in live like this.
Yeah, we're used to Zoom calls that are interviews where there's someone there that we're chatting with, and
Yeah.
and we just have the chat box here on the right. Quick tips on faking home address stateside. There's a lot of different ways to do that. The way I've done it is a good friend of mine in the States. I had a P.O. box for a decade before I left the U.S. and she would just go by once a month to pick up my email, and she would take photos of whatever was important and she would just email it to me. Other people use services, and I wanted to stay away from that because I imagined that that at some point the federal government, in their craziness after 9/11, would look for multiple people living at one address and assume that they had improper purpose and that we're really not in the United States. So I wanted to stay away from that. But I haven't heard that coming true. So you can probably use any of the mail forwarding services or mail receiving services. So just Google your city name or your state name and the words mail receiving or mail forwarding, and you'll get some choices there. Or you can go to any of the, but that will take care of it. So that to answer that question. So.
Hello, everyone. So again,
Oh, yeah.
see, I was reading everything. So.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for being on here, everybody. We appreciate it. John's Ranch Life, John, Arizona. Good to be part of your first live chat. Thanks. Yeah, this is our first live chat. Let's see. What are we supposed to do with the code? So I have a webpage called vagabondbuddha.com, and I put reports there about the best places around the world to retire cheap. And I have a course there that teaches you how to retire overseas. And I have a course there that teaches you how to make money online. And so really that code's really kind of for people that are already familiar with me and have built up trust because they've been watching my videos or whatever, and are just going to take advantage of this opportunity and just sign up for a 75% discount. It's just our way of saying thank you for being with us. If you're new, I don't know, you probably don't know enough information about us to really know what the lifetime membership is, but it's only for the lifetime membership. It won't work for the monthly membership. But you can, after this call or whatever you want, you can hunt around on vagabondbuddha.com. You'll see there that we have reports all over the world, and we have planning guides about retiring overseas and all sorts of stuff. And so it's for that lifetime membership.
I wonder, is it YouTube soon will be doing like you can hear people talking, so it's not so awkward doing
so it's not so one-sided?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just for now it's the chat box. I think there's, you can't like really do a Zoom call with. Sometimes on these, I've read that this is our first, so I don't really know, but I've read that sometimes there's hundreds of people on these live sessions, and so they just read the.
Oh. Yes.
You couldn't put 100 people on the screen, so.
There's someone asking me where Chang from. I'm from Malaysia.
Yeah.
Malaysia is, how to say that, is between Singapore and Thailand. If you don't know about Malaysia, there's a Malaysian actress just winning an award in, I can't remember the actress, that is a first Asian in 45 years winning that award, so people know about that.
It must be the Academy Award then, or one of those?
Yeah.
I don't watch those shows.
I don't watch that show, but
that's great.
This coming out in the Facebook news. That's
nice.
I said, the first Asians, and it's Malaysian. And Malaysia is a very tiny country. It's not much people know about that.
Yeah, it's not well known. It's not one of the well-known Southeast Asia countries, but it's honestly one of the better ones in my opinion for living. I would probably rate maybe the Philippines, Thailand, Malaysia, and maybe Bali, Indonesia, maybe at the top. Those might be my top ones. And Malaysia's clearly in the running there. It's a great place to live. So this is where we met too.
Is that because you have a Malaysian partner?
No, I like it here. I mean, it helps because we're here all the time. We come visit your family. We travel here, so it's nice. It's nice that you're from Malaysia. So it's a great country. And the nice thing about Malaysia for many Westerners is that when you come to Malaysia, it's not this get out in 30 days thing. You get 90 days, and then you can extend for 2 more months. So it's 5 months. And I don't know if that's per year or whatever, because we never run out of time. We're usually here for 30 or 60, sometimes up towards 90, but never even the full 90. So I've never bothered to get an extension, but it's quite beneficial.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Can I get a discount code? Is this special discount? We already have the special discount.
Yeah, it's the discount code is 10 friends for life. It's the number 10, the word friends, the number 4, and the word life. It's all lowercase. There's no spaces. If you go to vagabondbuddha.com, you'll see where it says memberships. And if you click memberships, below you'll see register for membership. You go to that webpage, and if you click lifetime membership, you'll see a little box under it. You put that code in, and it'll knock 75% off the price. So
yes. No, someone say too late. You saw make a joke over there.
Let's see. I can check if you want to see if he's joking or not. I'm sure he is, but I doubt there's that many people that quick that want to sign up for the lifetime. But there's already 5 of them used up, so there's 5 left. So how about should we answer another question, or should we do a trivia?
Yeah, we can do a trivia. But
I see a question from Mike Reyes. I heard Mexico is more difficult to stay long term now. That's related to the first trivia question, which is what 5 countries allow preferred nations to stay the longest on a tourist exemption? A tourist exemption is when you go into the country without a visa. You just land there in your airplane, or you walk across the border and the immigration official stamps you. There's no visa involved. And there are preferred nations like Europe and the US, Japan, Singapore. Malaysia is a preferred nation. And so many countries around the world, you can just go there and walk in. You don't need visas. And so, Anybody know what the, oh, good, Georgia. Andrew Jones got Georgia. Georgia allows 365 days. Any other ones people can think of? Another one is Albania, 365 days, and Armenia, 180 days. Mexico, 180 days, and the Philippines. You get the stamp when you come in, but it's only for 30 days, and then you have to extend, and you can extend for, I don't know, like $20-30 a month or whatever for up to 3 years. So those are the top 5 around the world. And you might be thinking, Georgia, Albania, Armenia, where are these places? Who cares that they're easy to get into? A lot of expats go to those areas and really have a good time. On my guest star videos, you'll see I've had guest stars from Georgia and another one that's visited Armenia, and they speak highly of it. I haven't been there myself yet. We're waiting for the war in the Ukraine to die, because a lot of people are migrating into those countries during the Ukraine war. We're waiting for that to end so we can head over to that part.
Yes, and also Philippines is the best place for this 3-year extension, because there is no question asking when you go for the visa extension. They just chop sign and paying money. That's all. Yeah,
and it's not a retirement visa. It's just anybody can go. It doesn't matter your age, as long as you're, I don't even know if they do background checks or anything. I think you just pay the $30 and they stamp you over.
The first time they will do your background check. I don't know how they do, but they come out for a letter saying that you don't have a criminal.
Oh, but that's local. They don't check your home country.
I don't.
They only check. They check the. I forget what they call that. What's the council area for each area? Barangay. The barangay chief or whatever, the police chief will check and make sure you haven't committed any crimes, and they'll let you just keep going over and over again. So.
It's from the immigration.
Yeah,
paying them, they're checking for everything.
That's right.
Yes.
And Panama is also 180 days. Most of Mexico, Central, not all, but most is 90. But Mexico, Panama, and I think that's it, or 180. You just show up there, they stamp you, and you can hang out for 180 days. But your question about is it getting difficult? About a year ago, we started hearing stories about people, like even couples flying into Mexico, and one getting a stamp for a week and another one for 3 weeks. And one of our contacts in Puerto Morelos, which we go to quite often and love, told us that if you fly into Cancun Airport, everyone's getting 180s right now, and that's all the only new information I have. And we also know that we have if you Google the words Vagabond Awake, Mexico, visa, you'll find a video and written reports to talk about what our method was to get the full amount we wanted. So if you're not flying into Cancun, you can try that process to get the full 180. But I haven't heard many more stories lately. People aren't emailing me and telling me they were refused. So it's more likely now than it was a year ago that you're going to get the full 180 when you go into Mexico.
Oh.
Yeah.
Have you heard, is Bali still requiring the couple to be married to stay together so far? In this 3 years, you still can go, but we don't know what's happened after that.
Yeah, that as you know, online there was a big blowback about that. Just to kind of give you guys a background, an article came out about 2 or 3 weeks ago, it might be a month now, that Bali had passed, not we're thinking of passing, a law that goes into effect in 3 years. That said that in order to go to Bali, it might have been all Indonesia, I don't remember, but most people just go to Bali anyway. You have to, and stay in a hotel room together, you have to be married. And was ridiculous. They would have put themselves out of business. And so somehow I've heard they've woken up and they've issued at least some public statements that it won't be applying to tourists. It would only apply to Indonesians, I guess. And so, but I don't know that that's been the part of the law's been changed yet, but it doesn't go into effect from what I read for 3 years from like a month or two ago. So it's not effective right now. Anyway, but definitely go and check on the embassy webpage. Or you can go to the State Department, usstatedepartment.gov, and put in Indonesia. I'm sure they're chatting about it over there too.
I just want to put out that code in case someone wants to use that.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys are welcome. I mean, some of you have been with us a long time, and I don't know, I never really thought I would get to 100,000 subscribers. I was just sharing information online and people liked it, but it grew really slow. Most of the people that you see on YouTube that explode and get 100,000, then 1,000,000 or whatever, they're generally very young and beautiful and whatever. And I'm just kind of an old guy. I mean, luckily I have Chung here, and she's the star of my channel, and so she probably is the reason most of you are here. But so I grew really slow. I mean, it's still maybe another 100 to get to 100,000. But over the last few months, it started to jump up a little bit. I think last month it was like 5,400 subscribers in 1 month. So it's going a little quicker now. And we'll see how it goes going forward. But my goal was always to have this membership plan where people had written reports they could access that were interested in either slow traveling around the world or retiring overseas. It would help them. And then that's evolved into a course and how to make money on it. It's evolved into a lot of different things. So I thought I would just have a membership and make my money off that, and that YouTube would never have a big enough audience really to pay me. But in December, as you saw in a video a few weeks ago, it was.
Can you talk about the memberships on your website?
Yeah, it's actually if you go to vagabondbuddha.com and go to membership benefits, just go to the memberships tab, and the top one says, I think, benefits and prices or something. There's a video on there that details everything that's included in the membership, and it'll go all over it. But basically, if you hunt around the webpage, you'll see that I have certain countries that are what I call retire cheap countries, and they're places you can go to. Some people can live for less, but generally you can live for around 1,000 to 2,000 a month, depending on you really, because we travel like locals. Why are you laughing?
I'm reading the comment I upgraded a month ago into a real world.
Oh, thanks.
And
Okay,
yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, and someone said that I'm only subscribed for the awesome beginning video, Chiang. I said, well, thank you so much. At least someone still want to watch me.
Everyone wants to watch you.
Okay, it's not that. Well, do you know how at night, when you know my age, you were like, oh, I don't want to watch her anymore. It's too old.
They don't care how old you are. She just turned 37 last month. So. And I'm 62. People always ask, is that?
Oh, yeah.
And by the way, on every one of our videos, there's a little tab that you'll see that comes along around maybe the 4-minute mark that will say how Dan and Chung met. You can hear our.
So in this lifetime membership, what's inside the package or anything?
It includes the Retire Cheap reports, retirement planning, and make money online, how to slow travel. And these are all reports, individual reports that you can see on Vagabond Buddha, at least the front covers. But when you join, you'll be able to download and read them. And then there's a course, the retirement course, where one of my subscribers said, there's too many ebooks. There's like 200 ebooks up on the membership. I don't know what order to read them in. I don't know where to start. It's like overwhelming. And so I made a course called How to Retire Overseas. I think if you go to the webpage, Vagabond Buddha, you'll see courses. You click that, and one will say How to Retire Overseas, and the other one says How to Make Money Online. Click the one that says How to Retire Overseas, and go to that. There's a video on that page at the top that's a syllabus that explains what's included in the course. And that's what it is basically, it's me going through my ebooks and giving you a short idea of what's in each one and what order to read them in so that you can get the information when you need it. And it's broken down into, do I want to live overseas, sort of, and then if I did want to, what countries would be best for me? And then from there, I better do an exploratory visit to make sure I like it. And then once you've been to 3 or 4 and you picked your favorites, the course talks about how to prepare to leave, like what do you do with your house? What do you do with your phone? What do you do with your email? And then after that, it talks about once you've arrived there, how to prosper in every way, socially and whatnot.
Yeah, about the health insurance.
Yeah, we both do checkups every year. Chung does have insurance in Malaysia, and I actually I think it was during COVID, I bought the US healthcare, and it just got a really high deductible and paid as little as possible, just because I knew that if I got some serious illness, I wouldn't be able to do. So the reason I don't buy medical insurance is once you've lived overseas for several years and you've been to the hospital, I've actually been to the hospital overseas, and you realize what they charge you, and then you look at the cost of insurance, and then you find out what it costs for treatment. you'll do this analysis where you multiply out the monthly payments for insurance, and you'll realize that if you're generally healthy, it's stupid to buy insurance, because even terrible diseases, 5 or 10 years of insurance payments, you'll have all that money, and there's a pretty good chance you won't get sick, so you get to keep the money unless you get sick. So I did that analysis and decided not to buy insurance. But during COVID, I bought the required, well, it's not required anymore, but Obamacare, if you want to call it that. And that was just because during COVID, I wouldn't have been able to fly for what I call medical tourism. I happen to know that if I got whatever, cancer, heart disease, I needed a heart, if I needed any of that, I would go to a country that was the best in the world for that at a low price. And the world has amazing medical care at lower prices. But during COVID, I couldn't do that. But I could always get back into the U.S. So I bought it for that. So now I'm just considering whether to cancel my American healthcare.
Yeah, and also that if we're doing a body checkup every year, if we can. So
yeah, we're doing it every year.
Almost every year before COVID.
Right.
Yeah, you will go to Bangkok.
Yeah.
You will go to Bangkok for your body checkup,
Yeah.
and I just bring you here in Malaysia for your body checkup. Tell people how much you pay for your body checkup.
Oh gosh. Well, that was
a blood test.
it was like 10 different blood tests and a prostate
10.
screening and 20, whatever it was. And it was like $115 for both of us or something, or was it each?
250 for one person. 250 Malaysia ringgit.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we did that in Cheung's hometown. Normally I go to the Bangkok hospital. Hopefully I'll remember the name of it now, but it's the world famous one for medical tourism. And that's more expensive. I think the full body scan for me is like 1,300 or something.
Yeah, 1,300.
And that's with
USD.
imaging. And so we do preventive, and that's part of the process. If you're gonna have a problem and you're on my plan where you're saving that money and put it aside, you want to be able to catch whatever it is early.
Yeah, and also that so the blood test about we take the higher package one.
Yeah.
It's 250 Malaysia ringgit is about 57
Oh
US
yeah, that's
dollar.
why. She's talking ringgit. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about ringgit. So it's 57 US dollar
Per person.
Yeah. And this is a blood test center. It's everywhere in Malaysia.
Yeah.
You can just go and just.
And that's not unusual. When we were in Panama 2 years ago.
Yeah.
We did the same thing.
You do.
Oh, you didn't get a checkup there?
I didn't check because I see the price too expensive. And you went to the doctor,
too expensive.
And then the doctor to tell you which kind of test that you need to do, and then you go to do.
Right.
It costs.
So I just texted. We got a referral to a doctor. I don't remember how, but so we found a doctor that was recommended. I think it was by another expat on a Facebook page, and so I emailed that doctor, and she texted back and told me what test to get based on my age. And she told me what clinic I could go to get the tests. Mm-hmm. And so I went there and got all these tests. And then when I got them in my hand, I just went to see her, and she did the physical exam and other stuff. Yeah. And it was about the same price as Malaysia, as I recall. It wasn't that expensive for the testing. I think it was like $100.
$100. I think it's $100 for the blood test, but it's only.
It's not just. It was like all kinds of stuff.
No, it just cover few. It's not. It's like 10 only.
But it covered the ones that are important for my age, for my sex, like the prostate test and blood sugar and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, so you want to stay, if you're going to do what I do, you want to make sure that you're catching whatever early.
Yeah, I just want to explain about them because a lot of people asking for the healthcare.
Yeah.
I buying my healthcare, the insurance in Malaysia because it's cheap. So I just bought it.
Yeah, it's pretty cheap.
It's cheap.
But what you're paying may not apply to many of my listeners because they're older, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so what is your health care? It's like 80 ringgit a month or something?
400 for a month.
Per month. So it's $100 a month.
It's about
85 maybe. Yeah, okay. So
and then you explain to them that why you don't buy insurance.
Yeah.
You just go to the Thailand for your everything.
I do everything in whatever country I'm in, really. This idea that, there's healthcare in the U.S. and it's not anywhere else in the world is kind of silly, but you don't know that. You have to learn that by experience.
And also, Thailand and Malaysia is one of the famous medical tourist country. People come to this country is for their medical any surgery,
Yeah.
this and that.
I mean, like even that,
relatives.
I don't know, I think it was like a year or two ago, I read that like a really high official in Indonesia came to Malaysia for some operation because it has like a really high recovery rate from Malaysia.
Yeah, that's why I want to show you and what we pay in Malaysia and compare with other country.
Yeah.
Like example, as a woman said, I pay for my ovary checkup,
Gynecologist.
Yeah, that is about $200 if I'm not mistaken. I pay in Panama.
Yeah.
And here I pay about 60 to 80 ringgit, which is just the maximum $20.
But the Panama though did have a sonogram, so they did also.
Yes.
They imaged your.
I would say that the compare with that I pay in Malaysia, it will be about 250 ringgit.
Yeah.
Which is $57 compared with $200.
Right.
Yeah.
And Panama's cheap too. I mean, so.
Yeah, for you it's cheap.
Yeah, the U.S. is out of control, as you know, and so if you're living there and expecting to get services there, it's really stupid not to have insurance, honestly. But once you've traveled enough or you've been outside and you've gotten familiar with your country, you might decide that you don't really need certainly American insurance, and the local insurance might be expensive, but it won't be as bad as the U.S. But you have to make that decision, learn over time, you gain that trust. So.
Yeah, people ask you is, will you buy a medical in U.S. then? Medical insurance or what? Medicare.
About halfway through COVID, I realized that if I got sick anywhere in the world, we weren't in the U.S. during COVID. We traveled to 7 different countries. Now most of the world's open, if you don't know that or not. But my theory about medical care is that whatever disease I'm diagnosed with, I will go to the best country with the lowest price to get that. An example, like at the time I did this research, I found out that a typical kind of cancer at one of the best hospitals in India, which is highly ranked worldwide, would cost me around $40,000 for 2 years of treatment, including a surgery. And so in the U.S., that would have been between $400,000 and $800,000 US dollars. And so I decided, and this isn't for everyone, I'm not telling you to do this, but I decided it's just stupid for me to carry insurance in the U.S. And also, I'm a slow traveler. That means I move around the world. Where in most years, we're in 5 different countries. And so, but during COVID, and so I didn't buy insurance inside of a country because we're never in one long enough. And during COVID, though, I couldn't go to India. And it occurred to me that if I got some sickness, I would only be able to go to the U.S. And so during COVID, I bought Obamacare. But before that, and soon in the future, I'll probably be canceling that because medical tourism is open to me again.
Okay, the blood test that we have in Malaysia is 63 tests, the result that we're testing here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. So that's a lot of tests.
Just a lot. I just want to let you know that how is the medical or the hospitality in outside the USA.
Yeah. It's just such a different world.
Yeah.
But you won't really know that till you go and find out for yourself. Yeah, I mean, go ahead and buy a international policy or whatever you can until you have the confidence to really think about and do the analysis.
Yes.
And it's going to depend on you too. I mean, what sicknesses you have,
Yes.
how confident are you? The other thing you can do, I'm sorry, this is all about health insurance, but this is something people ask a lot about. The other thing you can do is whatever country you're thinking of going to, let's say you're thinking of going to whatever, Thailand or Philippines, is go to Facebook and put the name of the city, Facebook expats in whatever city you're thinking of moving to, and join that expat page and just say, hey, what's going on there? Medical, do you have health insurance? And expats are very friendly. They'll tell you what the, maybe the top 1 or 2 insurance companies are there locally or internationally. They'll share that kind of information with you. And now it's going to depend on your age and what problems you have and all this kind of things to get a quote. And so what they're paying or what I might pay for that insurance doesn't really matter. You have to actually get the names of those. And the expats, they've already done the research if they've bought insurance. And it changes all the time. So, information that you 6 months ago that was the best is not anymore. So go to there, get the information, and then go to the web pages, and they have forms you fill out that says your age, where you're from, and then they give you a quote. and you can get quotes if you want to get covered when you first leave the U.S. Let's see, another trivia question.
They say these ones.
And then have to leave. How long do you, if you spend 180 days in Mexico, and then this is Barbara Frampton, 180 days in Mexico, and then have to leave, how long do you have to stay out of Mexico before you can come back to stay again for another 100 days? Historically, there was no, it's not like Europe where you, every 180 days, you can be there 90 days or something like that. Historically, Mexico has been one of those places where people were living in Mexico without a retirement visa, without an employment visa, and they would just come in and get the 180-day extension. And then they would just go over the border, maybe go to Vegas and gamble for a day or two, or just go over the border and come right back in and get another 180. That's the historical way people living in Mexico handled it. But there's things have been changing in Mexico. Some people are not able to do that anymore. They're being told, go get a retirement visa. And so I don't know that it's really that organized yet. It seems kind of ad hoc, the sort of whether or not they, you know, what agent you get or what immigration official you talk to when you come back through. So I don't think you can depend on the 180 anymore. And so you might want to think about either getting a temporary resident visa for up to 4 years, and then that automatically, with some additional forms, turns into permanent. But Mexico has come up with some ridiculous income requirements now for retirement visas. So,
I think most of the country come up very ridiculous.
there's been a lot of changing going on in that area, but not all of them. I wouldn't even say most. The ones that have changed recently. Well, that's a different story. Maybe I'll do a report on that. Recent changes.
Yes, and someone was sharing about that in Colombia. I bought antibiotic for my, for my flu for $2 without a prescription. I can't even park my car at U.S. Urgent Care Center for that cost.
So, I mean, I have family members that are doctors, and I don't want to diss them too much. They're not in charge of these regulations, you know. But the Medical Society of the U.S., you know, is in charge of telling politicians how to pass laws. But the U.S. isn't really a great place to be if you're, you know, for your health. Honestly,
I was just sharing that how is the overseas care, so they have understanding. Like one of your
what Malik just said.
One of the
that's true over probably 60% of the world, maybe 70% of the world. You just walk into a pharmacy and you tell them what you want, and they give you that drug. And it's the pharmacies in the U.S. charge way more for the same drug. This antibiotic he paid $2 for, that easily could have been $200, $400, $800. It depends. It might only be 20, 60, but U.S. pharmaceuticals, they'll charge one price in Thailand and another price in the U.S. It's ridiculous.
Okay. Because one of your, you have recently made an interview with Mark from Thailand. They have to talk about the healthcare in Thailand. Right. There's a ridiculous prices that he.
It's the video before this one, I think. He got COVID, and within 2 hours he had the Merck. I forget what they call it. It's kind of the drug that Trump took when he went to the hospital that the rest of us couldn't get at the time because it was testing still. But he got it for, did he say $90 for the doctor, delivery, the drug? I mean, and this is a drug that costs $900 in the US. And he got it all. Anyway, that's a video. The title right now is What Happened to Him in the Emergency Room in Thailand or something. It's a couple of videos ago. So that stuff happens all the time. So you show the code again in case people want to know. So you can get a lifetime membership until it runs out. 10 friends for life. That's the number 10, the word friends, all lowercase. There's no spaces, and the number 4 after friends, and then the word life, no spaces. And that's a 75% discount on lifetime membership. So let's see, another trivia question. Oh, by the way, staying without a retirement visa, I've never applied for a retirement visa. I turned 62 years old this year. Maybe someday I will, but I like doing what's called slow traveling. And I have a video out. You can Google it. Just Google Vagabond, Awake, and the words "How to Retire on a Tourist Visa" for 14 years. It's an interesting video. It just takes you through all the countries you can go to without a visa at all, a visa exemption that I was talking about a moment ago. And you can just travel around the world, going into one country after another, and you don't have to fly home. You just go over a border. So like going down through Mexico, Central America, South America, and then over to Asia, just go country to country, and you can go without getting visas at all for 14 years.
Yeah.
So.
And also, there's a very interesting thing that I would like to share is Dan start his vagabondsbuddha.com in Malaysia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was when I met Chen. I remember asking you if you like the name, remember?
No, you asked me about the name, which one's better,
Yeah,
sounds better, you know.
Yeah.
Then I'm the one who picked the name as well.
Yeah.
And also right now we're also back in Malaysia and almost the same place. And
yeah, we're back in Kuala Lumpur.
Yeah, it's a lot of memory about that. That's how we start. It's not that easy.
Yeah,
but we did enjoying all along, you know, making a video and
so we left Malaysia in 2017. We met in 2016. We met at a place in Kuala Lumpur called Sold Out, which is like the word soul with ED, out, sold out. And last night we were there meeting friends of ours from Kuala Lumpur, from Chung's work. Some of her best friends.
They have quite good. The food is not bad over there. I would say some is good, some is not really nice. But the best thing is the happy hour. Happy hour is starting from 12 to 7 p.m.
Yeah.
So they have wine, mojito, and beer for 13 ringgit per unit.
Yeah, in Malaysia that's a big deal because
Yes.
that's not even $3. I don't know what it is. It's probably $2.90 or something.
Yeah.
And that's a lot. We're used to going to places where, you know, like a beer is 75 cents or $1, and to pay $2.75. That's because in Malaysia, the one thing that really is more expensive is
alcohol.
alcohol.
But there is in the busy area, have all high rise, very nice view, very nice complex. So it's
great neighborhood.
It will be more expensive. Even cheap one, we also have find out some like 7 ringgit, which is less than $2 for gin tonic. You know, happy hour time.
Yeah, which is less than $2, but that's happy hour, right? I mean, it's still the regular prices are quite high. Let's see, another trivia question.
They say someone's planning to go to Thailand in spring. The long term is to travel around. However, Thailand require return ticket to US. That make me plan to figure out how do you do that. Well, when we arrive in Thailand, that's very amazing thing that they didn't ask for our return ticket. No return. This is ask when you're leaving. That's all, and then they just put it on the
right.
We didn't ask for the white card to write anything. They just
there was no card anymore. But we're not saying this is the new way. We're just saying this is what happened when we came in.
Yes.
Historically, you needed to. They didn't require a return ticket, did they?
That time they didn't require the return ticket. No vaccine, nothing. Just chop, boom.
Yeah, I mean, pre-pandemic, I remember them asking me for where I would stay.
Yes.
But I don't even remember them like looking for a printout of it, or they would just ask. But I don't remember them asking for a return ticket in time.
Yeah, but for the return ticket, we always use the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 on ticket.com, which they reserve for you for 48 hours. So whatever the airline, when they checking the code, the booking.com, the reservation code that you have, you have your name over there.
Yeah.
But normally they don't check.
So it's $12, and it's top Onward tickets. Is that the one we're using?
Yeah.
But even if they went out of business, you just Google Onward tickets, and there's like 20, 30 companies out there that sell these for somewhere between like $10 and $15.
Yes.
And they put your actual name, you're in the system on that flight in whatever date and time, and they email back to you usually within like 10 or 15 minutes. And you print it out, and just do that like a few hours before you go to the airport, and it stays in the system for 48 hours. And then when you land, you can show.
Most of the time that you will we get our ticket in 5 minutes, or you will get your tickets in less than 1 hour. But anything happen because they have a live chart. I have one emergency that I have to get a ticket before that during the COVID time when I travel.
Yeah.
I mean, I will travel alone because Every time we go to Mexico, we no need to show the return ticket. But when I fly that time, the airline asked for my return ticket. I'm flying now, and you ask for my return ticket. So I use the website, and then I contact in the live chat, so they send me the ticket immediately, so I can proceed to the next place.
You may not be aware of it. Someone asked for this. This is the discount code here. I think it was anyway. Every country has different rules for every other country, and so the fact that Chung needed a return ticket coming into Mexico is because she's Malaysian. That's unusual. That doesn't happen to her very often. By the way, this is for the 75% discount. Someone asked, and so they've never asked me for a return ticket. I'm American. I'm not saying what countries they will or won't do that, but it just never happened to me.
Because I'm Malaysian, I was flying from Philippines to Mexico.
Yeah.
That's very far away. They don't want to have any problem.
And maybe they just don't know. Maybe people don't even know where Malaysia is or anything about it.
Because
they probably get very few Malaysian visitors.
No, the thing is, during the COVID, every place need a return ticket.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
And that was during COVID.
I was during COVID.
That was during COVID.
Just the beginning of the pandemic.
Yeah.
So it's different.
Yeah, it's different. Things are getting loosened up again now.
Yeah,
many countries don't require the vaccine anymore. They don't require testing.
Like, share about the experience you was leaving we cross border from Thailand to Malaysia. What has the Malaysia asked you about it?
Nothing. They didn't even ask questions, did they?
It just asked you to scan your passport, print your timing, you scan your timing.
Yeah,
boom,
that was it. Yeah, no, nothing. Yeah, so things are different now, and we're kind of still figuring it out, like what they're going to change. But it seems like people are just countries are just happy to have you come now, and so they've kind of relaxed things a little bit, even in some ways more than they were pre-COVID. Let's see. By the way, you guys, there's a lot of great information in the chat stream here on the right. I'm sure you know that.
Yeah.
So
we just keep talking, and then we didn't read that much.
I should show you guys something real quick here.
I can show you from here.
I travel with a monitor. It's a monitor about this big. And the first time I bought a monitor and put it in my luggage, I put it face down in the luggage. And when I arrived in the new place, and this happened to Mark Hanna, the guy that was talking about healthcare in Thailand a couple of videos ago too, it broke the monitor. And so I thought, I need a monitor because I like to have a bigger screen, have a couple of documents open because I'm writing all these reports and stuff. And so I had this idea, I'll buy a thin piece of plywood and put it over the front. That's what this is. It's just a piece of plywood. I use a bungee cord and strap it over the front of the monitor, and I lay it face down in my luggage. And I had one monitor, like 4 years, it never broke. And I still hadn't had a broken monitor since I bought this. And it's a very thin piece, as you can see. I forget what it is, maybe 1/4 inch, probably less. And also, I also, as you can see, I Velcroed a wireless keyboard on here. So I also use this sort of like a desk, which is better for your back than trying to have your hands up on the counter. So I use it for both when I've landed and when I'm flying. Little tip for you there.
Yeah.
So should we talk about another?
Yeah.
Here's some really odd questions for you. Does everyone need to return to their home country before their passport expires? I mean, I left the U.S. In 2007 for good, really. I've been back to visit a few times, but do I have to go home to renew my passport? Anyone know the answer to that? I'll let that question sink in, and I'll ask another, and then we'll go back and see if anybody answered. How many months did you have left on a valid passport before you leave your home country? In other words, when you get to a country, do they not only check that your passport's valid, but do they want to see a number of months that are left on it? Because you're coming there, you're staying for a while, presumably, and so do you need to look at your passport before you leave your home country and say how much time do I have left, and do I have enough time? That's another trivia question for you.
Yeah.
Jack Bree. No, you do not need to return to your home country before your passport expires. Now, I think the passports in the U.S. are still 10 years. I got one 10-year one before I left, so mine didn't come up until 2017, and I just happened to be in the U.S. at about the time it was expiring. So I just went to the local State Department office and got a new one done. But I have many friends that both lost passports overseas or had theirs expire overseas, and they just go to the U.S. Embassy in whatever country they're in, and they can get a new passport, either a temporary one if it's lost and they're coming home soon, or if they have more time, they can get a full new passport. So you don't have to go home to renew your passport. Let's see, how many months left? Did someone say how many months left?
6 months.
Yeah, most countries require 6 months. So before you fly, make sure you have at least 6 months in your passport. Thanks, Wandering Doc. Good to hear from you. Wandering Doc leaves a lot of messages. A lot of you guys do. I mean, I recognize all these names.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what was the other one? How many months should you have left? I just did a little checking around. Most of them require around 6 months, but there was a few that only require 3 months. And so if you're in a jam and you don't have time, or there was a point during COVID where the U.S. State Department was like 6 months behind in even getting an appointment. I don't know that that's true anymore. But if you're in a jam, double check the country you're going to. They may be all right, with less than 6 if you're just going in for a week or two. So it depends on the circumstances. It depends on your home country too. Does your home country allow you to renew your passport in your embassy in whatever countries you're going to be in the future? That's a question you need to. I'm just talking about the U.S. So.
How you handle about your banking?
I have a report on that. That's actually kind of a detailed answer, and I won't spend too much time on it. But what you wanted, by the way, just Google the words Vagabond, Buddha, banking secrets. I think that'll bring up the report. But
yeah,
the way I handle is with redundancy. That means that I have 2 separate accounts at 2 separate U.S. banks. And I have 2 separate credit cards, one at each of the banks. And so if something happened, and I keep them separate. So you've heard these stories about people, their ATM card is lost or it doesn't work, or they leave them somewhere and forget them, or they're stolen or whatever. You need a redundancy in your money because it can take, it's taken me up to a month before. Now, I've always had a redundancy. I started with a redundancy, meaning I have 2 of each set. But one time I left a wallet in a back of a taxi, or actually fell out of my pocket. And the taxi driver called me and returned it, but it didn't have the cards in it. So he was honest, but I guess one of his fares after him took the cards out, but left the wallet, whatever. But so it took like a month for the new cards to get there. Now, most people don't run around with that much cash. And so you're going to want to have a redundancy in your banking. And then also make sure you get 2FA, two-factor authentication, which makes, before you leave your home country, which means that when you log onto a bank account, they send you a text and then you put that code in. In addition to your name and password, you need to set up 2FA for security.
Well, but nowadays in Malaysia, we don't use the code from the mobile phone anymore. They just worry the code will go to other places because a lot of scam in Malaysia.
Yeah.
And now they are all is on the phone apps that
Yeah,
you have
phone
to
apps.
approve.
That's the most secure.
Yeah, that's only approved by your phone. Anyway, we will go to the next one. Is the let me see. About the what do you call it? Passport copy when you travel. We don't carry passport copy.
Yeah. What do you do, Chun? How do we handle that?
We don't use, we don't take our passport copy even out.
But we bring it in our phone. We just take a picture of it.
Yeah, we just take a picture of it.
And we just show it to whoever. If they ask for a passport, in fact, we never hand anyone our passport. If they ask for the passport, we open it up on the phone and just show them that.
It's here. Do we need to carry passport on the street or just a copy? I'm asking this because I'm always carry the copy, but apparently Thailand require have passport on it while you are on there. Well, we never have this.
Yeah, I mean, there was some talk of that in Mexico too last year about the time that they were telling people they couldn't come for the full 180. Immigration was also stopping people on the street and saying, oh, you need your real passport. You can't have a copy anymore. And so you'll hear that from time to time. And I'm not saying that that's not true about Thailand, but we rent scooters sometimes when we drive around, and I often just show them my driver's license, and they don't even ask for a passport. And when they do, I've never had a Thai policeman ask me for a passport.
Yeah.
So I don't know that it's being enforced.
Yeah. And
so I would leave it in the lockbox in the hotel room, bring the copy with you. That's my advice.
Where do you think the best place to find love in Thailand? Somewhere where there is at least professional lady. I love Thailand, but I don't like all the professional.
Yeah, that's actually a very good question. Not just women, but men. I think it depends what you're looking for.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're looking for an authentic relationship. I mean, it's not based on need. It's based on mutual affection.
Yeah.
And so I would stay away from.
So, how long did you travel alone before you met Chang? Well, I don't think you travel alone that much. Please share your experience.
When I left the USA, I was seeing someone at the time, and she came with me to India, is where I went for the first 2.5 years. And so she traveled with me during that period. And then for maybe another 6 months after we left India, she traveled around with me. And then along the way, I've dated some here and there. I've probably only actually been single, I don't know, no more than a few years. And so.
No more than a few months, I think. Don't try to fool people.
Well, they're not asking they're asking just whether I'm dating or whether people are traveling with me.
How long you travel alone before you met?
Yeah, so I would only count ones that were traveling from place to place, which would really just be 3 have done that. The rest are just people I've been dating. So traveling alone, maybe 4 or 5 years. I left the US in 2007, and now it's 2023. So I think that's near 16 years. And so there was a period there, I think from between about 2012 and 2016 when I was single. So there we go.
Yeah, we are almost done.
Okay. Here's another trivia question for you. What are some of the other kinds of visas that expats use to stay in another country when they do not qualify for a retirement visa? People always think, oh, like the retirement visa. And that's promoted because generally it's a useful tool, but there's a million ways around it in almost every country. And there are exceptions. Like right now, it's kind of tough to get into Vietnam with their business visa. Most of the people that were living in Vietnam up until the pandemic that were living there permanently were on business visas, and they had some kind of business or another that they were running, and they were able to stay there for that. But they tightened up those rules. A couple of my friends just went back there. We'll see if they've loosened up a little bit to make up money.
Someone answers the tourist visa, and then Anna say, "You guys are funny. Chang, make sure that you are not telling the truth. No cheating."
Chang's the memory. Like I remember like concepts, but she'll remember very specific.
Oh, by the way, I need to tell you one thing is I have saw that we are very open, and we are not like hiding anything. Like Dan met my ex, and I also Dan also shared me the photo of the ex-girlfriend, and I want to say that his ex-girlfriend is beautiful. It is beautiful. It's not Asian, it's American, right? It's very beautiful though. Right.
And I like Chang's ex. He's a crack up. He lives in Bali. We'll be seeing him when we're there.
Yeah.
What was the other kinds of visas? So there's business visa. The other thing is
work visa and student visa.
Yeah, student visa. Yeah. And you might be thinking, student visa, I don't want to go to college. You won't believe the kinds of things people want to study.
Yeah,
like one guy was studying kickboxing, another guy was studying the local language, another person was studying history, something like their hobby anyway, and they would just go and just study history, and it was like one class a week for a couple hours. And so there's a lot. I mean, just be open-minded about that and talk to expats if you think there's some country you can't get into or you don't qualify for.
Yeah. Anna, I know you because Anna is always comments on my video as well. Thank you so much.
Just keeping you honest. Multiple tourist visas being used in Vietnam, ATM.
At the moment,
multiple tourist visas. Yeah. I don't know what that means. Multiple tourist visas.
No, we hear about one of your friends, I can't remember his name.
Right.
He loved Vietnam,
Yeah.
so he will, no matter how, he will go back to Vietnam, and then he just go to border.
Oh yeah.
Every month for
the. He said when he first gets there, maybe the first 6 months, feet on the ground, he's just going to do what we call border runs, where you just leave the country and go back in every 30 days. Because, but he's hoping that Vietnam will provide another avenue. He can go be a student or be a businessman
because
or charity. There's all kinds of visas.
I love that last time the Vietnam have that you can apply for 3 months, 6 months, and 1 year. You know, that is make things more easier. You know,
Yeah. Let's see.
Do you guys have favorite part of the world that you enjoy? Anyway, I will have one question. Do you understand my English? Some people will not understand my English because every country will have some slang and what you call accents that you don't understand.
Oh, accents.
And also one thing is very interesting I would like to share is sometimes I don't understand Dan's English because then you speak American English, and in Malaysia, Thailand, and I think Malaysia and India, they speak UK English.
Yeah.
So something we always have a different, like you would say like putting gas on the car, and I would say putting petrol, you know. And it's like,
or pants are your underwear in the UK.
Yeah,
they're your outerwear.
Like you call garbage, we call
rubbish.
No, garbage.
Yeah, garbage.
And so we call it dustbin, and then you don't call it dustbin. It's here. You like to make fun on the
dustbin.
Yeah, we call it.
Don't put that in there. That's only for dust. Whatever.
Yeah.
John, I understand you clearly. I love your accent.
How was your English in Glasgow? At Glasgow, I think so far it's still okay. I managed to get understand, but not too much.
Yeah, that's in Glasgow in Scotland. You know, it's if you get it out into rural areas, you might not. Someone can say a whole sentence to you in English, and you may not understand a single word of it. So that is a problem. Yeah. So so anyway, the looks like there's just a few spots left, but if you want to jump on, this is a discount code. 10 friends for life, all lowercase. That's a number 10, the word friends with an S on it, and the number 4 and the word life. 10 friends for life is a 75% discount at vagabondbuddha.com. Lifetime membership. It only applies to the lifetime membership. And that's in celebration of the 100K, which we don't know when that'll happen. It'll probably happen in the next few days, but we wanted to thank you guys for, you know, most of what we do. You guys are the reason for it. I mean, where we go and what we study and what we write about and what we share in our videos is based on all your questions. So.
Sorry, Anna, can you type the question again because it's hard to find back the phone number questions. I'm
not sure I understand. Which one are you pointing at?
This one. Can
you sneer that question about the phone number?
I have to look and.
She's probably talking about what to do with her phone number. Okay, so so I have a free ebook at vagabondbuddha.com. It's called How I Fired My Boss and Traveled the World for 16 Years. Mm-hmm. And that covers a lot of this basic stuff. When I left the USA, I had my phone number. At first I think it was a landline. I had it for a number of years, and then I changed it into a cell phone or a smartphone line. And then when I left US, I thought, I don't want to get another phone number. I want people to be able to contact me. So I did some research and I found out a way that I could port my cell phone number to Google Voice. And then I could put Google Voice on my computer and on my smartphone. And then whenever I was in the world, if people called my old phone number, it would ring on my computer and on my cell phone. And so I talk about that in the ebook, Fire Boston, Travel the World. And so come over to vagabondbuddha.com. At the top left-hand corner, you'll see free ebook. Grab that ebook if you haven't and read that ebook. It has that kind of information in it. Banking, phones, what to do about mailing address. Yeah. There's a bunch of stuff more in there.
And Johnny say, let's do 50 friends for life.
That's great.
Yeah. And so one thing I want to say that I'm not really good on pronunciations about English because I speak quite a number of the language. I speak Chinese, Mandarin, and I speak Malay, English, and I speak a little bit Farsi. And in Chinese, we have like a lot of dialect, so I can speak and understand Cantonese, which is for Hong Kong. I can speak Hokkien, which is for Taiwan, mostly, I mean, the local people speak. And I speak Mandarin, is for China. So I have a different, language to speak. Like when we're on the lift, I saw some people, is Afghanistan people, and I speak Farsi with them, and they were so surprised. Yeah. And also, because we've been in Latin America for quite some time, so we both can speak a little bit of the Spanish for daily communication, for buying stuff and this and that.
Yeah. Yeah, so she's multilingual. Yeah, it takes some time when you go to a new country to remember what words what words are equivalent. But yeah, that's great. Whereas I pretty much just speak English, and I try to pick up a few words everywhere just to be polite. But the problem with being an English speaker around the world is that English has become the international language. And I'm not saying this is the solution or that you should follow this. I'm just saying often when you're trying to learn a new language and you begin to speak it, people are just annoyed by it. They like that you're trying, but eventually they'll just start speaking English.
How to say his name?
𝐿𝐴𝑋𝑁𝐶𝐹𝑘𝐴6LA.
Is it? I believe Chang only has brother. That's true. I only have brother.
Yeah, she has 3 brothers. In fact, that's why we're in Malaysia right now. One of her little brothers had a baby, so his wife did. Yeah,
yes. So it's the time to go for breakfast as usual.
Yeah, it was 8 a.m. when we started. Oh, it's 9 o'clock. Where did the hour go?
Yeah.
Yeah. So by the way, this video, we'll put it up it'll be, I don't know where it goes after this. This is our first live stream, but we'll make sure it's up on the channel. And there was a lot of good information in the chat. And then I'll read the chat and I'll try to answer any questions I didn't, and put a link below the video that you can go find.
Where do we find the 10 Friends for Life? It's in the vagabondbuddha.com. Go over there and.
Yeah, vagabondbuddha.com is where the membership webpage is. That has all the reports about retiring overseas or slow traveling the world. And vagabondbuddha.com. And if you go to that webpage and look along the top, it'll say memberships, and click that, and it'll have a pull down button. And there's one that says price and benefits. One says registration. If you go to registration after you learn the price and benefits and put in this code, then you'll get a 75% discount. That's for the first 10 friends for life. It's not 50, although that.
Well, we have to say bye-bye.
Yeah.
It's time for breakfast.
Thanks for making our first live stream so fun. I had a good time.
Yeah, I have a good time. Maybe we will do it more. You can comment in below. We like to see us more, and you can ask some question in the beginning when we post that when we want to have a live stream. So we will be more easy to be answered the questions. So it's not like this. It's hard to be talking and I have to find the answer. It's quite hard for us.
Yeah, I really like this chat box, Sylvia, because all these questions you've asked, it gives me insight into what I need to write reports about. A lot of the stuff we've learned over 16 years for me and Sheng now for 6 years or 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, I don't know how come. I thought I will be with you for, a fun time.
Yeah. I'll go hang out with this guy for a while. He seems okay, and it's a fun life. So
we take life is in the how does they call that rose-colored glasses?
Oh, rose-colored glasses. Yeah.
It takes time. It's fun.
Yeah. So I'll read through those things and try to, have that inform what reports I next and what videos I make.
And say goodbye.
Thanks so much. Have
Ciao.
a great day.
Sayonara.
Now we have to learn how to shut this thing off.
I think it's okay. Bye bye.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.